Hello, hello. Today I would like to introduce you to my friend Do Eunkyo's book on mastering invasions. This is it. For those of you who don't know, she has been selling this book for maybe 3 or 4 months, maybe more. But well, it's quite recent. It's AI approved. It's AI based, maybe. Um, and it is an excellent reference book for those of you who don't know invasions, but for those of you who do know invasions as well, because many of the variations are sharp even for pros. Um, the beginning of the book has a really nice index. This really helps, and it's something that more Go books should use. The book is structured as global board positions discussions, and you're asked to find the best move on the whole board, not only in one area. So you need to take the full global context into account. And Dongyo not only goes over the details of the sequences, but tries to break it down in terms of direction of play, because sometimes all you need to decide the better move is to decide for the better direction, not necessarily to find a crazy Tetsuji somewhere. I find that most AI moves, when the board is this open, follow the simple human heuristics of pre-AI direction of play. Well, here we can see that the bottom right is very urgent. It needs an invasion from white, but where to invade? Do you invade more towards the corner, more towards the right, the bottom side? And if so, which move should you choose? She will try to show you variations for each of the most plausible moves, and the best refutation for both sides. And as I said, this is a reference book, an excellent reference book. And if you do memorize the shapes here, you will end up improving your goal, even if you don't understand the shapes. But if you do understand the shapes in the end, that's even better, much, much better, of course. Um, but well, all of the shapes here are so recurrent nowadays. You're gonna end up memorizing them. They will appear in your games, and then you can come back to her comments to try to understand them better. But anyways, let's take a look at some positions from the book, and one board position that popped up in a game that I played against her, with a Tsuji that's featured in her book, that I already knew about before reading her book. I also proofread her book. I helped to review it a little bit. I already knew the Tsuji, but I didn't know what AI suggests um, for playing refuting the Tsuji. There's no refutation really, because the Tsuji is a good move in the end, but it doesn't mean that um, whoever received the Tsuji is going to collapse or anything like that. Okay, let's take a look. Maybe we could take a look at the board position on the cover. It comes from the Sunrensei. Let me just drop it here. Sunrensei after white invades 2 times. Oops. And black plays with simple extensions. Now the key move is how to either invade or reduce this framework. Since the title of the book is an invasion, we expect an invasion, right? But where though? Because it feels kind of deep for you to go down here, but well, maybe it's plausible. I think pre AI, we would say this is kind of deep, especially after Black extended many times here with B and C. And one of the reasons she shows in the book why this is so deep is that Black can play very simply by just attaching here and going very solid on at least one of the sides on the right side, but this side is also still very strong. And if you try to live from here, you're going to inevitably damage one of the corners because of forcing moves such as A and B. In the book, the suggested move to continue is A. Um, if white tries to move out or do something from here, this will be extremely painful. And it's not even clear that this group is alive still. In this situation, the invasion is not so deep, and it's not towards the bottom side either. We would say that this moyo is delimited on this line, more or less. Maybe it's one live above this, maybe it's from here to here, who knows, but it's somewhere in this region. If you want a reduction, usually you play around this region. Then it's very difficult for black to enclose you. You can run away towards one side or the other. You have room to just go towards the center or the sides. There's too much space for black to seal you in. But if you go too deep, if you go down below this line, then it's an invasion already. And for example, if you play here, it's maybe too deep. But AI has very thorough calculations, and he plays almost just as deep. He plays a little bit more to the side. It isn't as deep because the attachment now is much more severe. And the attachment is the key move here to remember. If black caps you, you can attach, and through this combo, you'll see that it's much easier to live than it seems. Either to live or to get forcing moves for you to move out towards the center. You're gonna need to buy the book to really go through them because I think she goes over many variations through 20 pages maybe. So, well, it's all very interesting, but from here, I think you can fight back as white. You're not gonna die, hopefully. Anyways, let's take a look at another position. Before AI, I think most people would be terribly afraid of invading this moyo too deep, black's bottom side moyo, that is, because it seems so frightening. But now that we know at least one key shape, but we already knew that from the fourth line stone on the side, the Keima is a major weakness. The Keima on the third line, that is. If we play here, we know that we can get at least some options of either moving out or sliding underneath the C fourth line stone to get a base, to get at least a tiny bit of a base. Um, it's not gonna be easy, but with AI now we know that it works way better than we expected. And here, maybe the first key sequence would be the kick. And in this case, we don't want to go up like this. That's too heavy. We want to play a little bit more light. And if this happens, we can maybe push out one more time and then do this, or maybe it's the other way around. We play here. Let me just cheat a little bit. Yeah, okay, so two. No, I was right on the first sequence. Three, four, five, then six. And since we have this attachment, so for example, if black seals us in, we can abuse the fact that the right side is very strong to develop a bit of a base. And now we're pretty much alive. The other the other main line for attacking this white stone is probably the Kema here, but we can slide, push, and then get a base here. If black keeps on trying to kill us, the the Suji, the move to remember is this attachment. If black hunts, we can first play here. Black extends, we extend, or maybe first we do this actually. So after after we extend, we poke in, connect, black goes in, we throw in, block, black needs to connect, we Atari, and then get the second eye. This is one of my games against Do Eunkyo, and one of the exercises or references in her book popped up later from here. She invaded my bottom side formation, this die-die game of formation. I attached on top, that's all very typical, and usually white will wedge. However, white needs both letters for this to work ideally, um, because if, for example, in this case, oh, there are ways for black to resist actually, even without letters. Black can push here or push here, but um, from black's perspective, it's better to have the letters. In the letter on the left side is favorable for black. So if black plays here, white cannot capture this stone. However, this is good for white in the end because there isn't that much to develop here. This group isn't that attackable. That's my interpretation. I don't remember if we reviewed this after the game. I think we reviewed some other things. AI usually prefers just capturing from the bottom because this shape is really nice. Even considering that white has this letter, one of her concerns afterwards was that playing a move here could weaken the center group for white. And so it could be justifiable for black to play in this way. And this is the best way for both from the wedge, according to AI actually. AI prefers, instead of playing here directly, asking for moves in the bottom right corner or playing here, and black won't connect directly. Usually that's bad, that's a bit of a loss. If you connect directly, it's a bit of a gain because well, you don't want to feel this point. You want to maybe later play this move and then you have two Ys. If you get filled here, this group is not alive. But anyway, she didn't want to wedge because of all those reasons, and she chose to just extend. kept on poking in, but now that there isn't that much space on the bottom side, she chose to connect back. And in this way, she leaves me with cuts, uh, which makes the situation difficult for me. But I had a Tsuji up my sleeve, and this is it. If she blocks, then, well, you can pause to figure it out, but um, well, I already kind of spoiled the Tsuji as well. But if you play here, you're exposing a double Atari. The only way to connect is by playing here, and it doesn't fix the double Atari. So that's the idea behind the Tsuji. Maybe in the past we could play some sort of extension, I don't know, but the best move, according to AI, is for us to capture this stone cleanly. It feels to me, it feels strange. Now that I know this Suji, I feel okay. Now that I know the variations, I mean, it feels strange as white because taking this Atari and getting cut through um, seems severe. But this Atari clings this shape quite a bit, and when you connect here, even though black can cut through Arcana, which is a very good shape to break in the game of Go, black is not alive, and it's exactly what white will try to abuse as soon as possible. First, Atari is here to further um, further increase the possibilities around this cut, and AI would like me to connect here. One of the ideas is try to increase the potential forcing moves around this stone. This might make a difference for this group to find more space in the corner in case it gets threatened, and it limits many of her good Sentei around this area as well. But in the game, I try to go for more efficiency, but this is not that great because the cut is still there, right? She tried to get a splitting attack against me, and in the long term, it worked really well because I already had this group that isn't 100% settled. Then this side, this group will get isolated. I will resolve my situation with this group, but I won't make many points. The game will be close for a long time, but it's tilting in her favor. This is more or less what happened. She could have played better, but in the end, uh, it was kind of enough for her. I mean, in terms of game flow, I think in terms of points, I'm not doing badly. Maybe somewhere here I was even in the lead, but I don't know. The game flow now favors her, and I'm gonna be so flimsy everywhere that easy for the pro to dismantle you, right? When this sort of thing happens. But that's it. That's how um, something like the reference in the book might appear in one of your games. Even something that's more niche like this Tetsuji, and then this variation. Well, I thought this was good for me because I thought this formation helped these three stones a lot as well, and those stones did help a lot, but it wasn't enough for me. Uh, it's a skill issue, right? But well, that's it. Highly recommended book, especially as a reference. I go back to it sometimes. Um, Even though I do remember many of the variations, I proofread the book, as I said, but that's it. See you next time.